No, his faunish trait is not allowed to be turns into a werewolf.
No, what are the other traits? Because like the
Well, man,
most I can think of.
his eyes change color, he gets fangs, he gets claws, and he gets like 4 times more hair on his chest.
No, he was always that hairy apparently.
Listen, the hair one is just his inner masculinity.
I don't remember his eyes changing color, and I don't remember the fangs. Granted, I wasn't paying much attention because we were finally getting some decent action.
And then Blake sets her house on fire. And what a wonderful way to
God.
start this stream! Hello, internet!
Oh boy.
If you didn't get what we were talking about earlier, we're talking about Ruby, and that's what we're covering right now, because this is Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9001. You're a Sneaky Devil. Max and Atin are here. And maybe someone won't confuse the two this time. Maybe.
Nope. That's gonna happen.
Is Isley even here for you to like mock her for that?
I'm sure she'll show up. Anyway, as I was saying, so as always, per Twitch guidelines, blah blah blah. This is
No, not blah blah blah. Don't harass these people.
Yeah, don't contact them. That counts as harassment. Well, we provide you with the links to the stories. Do not contact the authors of these stories. This is for parody and education, entertainment, so don't,
Mostly parody.
We know we can't provide education. Anyway, so as always, the link to the story we cover is in the Discord. And it's gonna be, it's just immediately cringe. Immediately cringe. And the shot goes down. Yeah. Okay. From the day I was born, I knew I was different from the others. It was because of this reason I was abandoned and discarded.
Ah!
I had no one to turn to, but she...
Get your bingo cards ready, folks. I feel like you might get a bingo from this story alone.
But she turned to me. She was the one who saw greatness in me. She was my queen, and I would do anything to become her king, even if it means being the ultimate enemy.
Oh, thank you, Zexus, for popping that in there. But where are the hateful villagers, he asks.
Oh, he's right.
You're right, there's no abusive, hateful villagers that hunt him down every year. Bits of Tales elements and Berserk elements. Oh boy, Tales of Vesperia elements. Oh.
Wait, specifically Tales of Vesperia?
And
the
Zestiria. Yeah.
No, okay, Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Berseria. You don't touch Berseria. I don't want you ruining it.
Yeah,
oh, Max, it's gonna get ruined.
Oh, it's going in here.
It's gonna get ruined like a white shirt.
Okay, no. To be fair, though, the author only ever posted 22k words of this, so it's entirely possible he never got to that point. What do we say? He's clearly got to that point and he's gonna ruin it. Anyway, God damn it!
It's immediately here in the first chapter.
Oh, God, good. God damn it, it's been a long time since I've been on fanfiction. I know some of you want to know what the fuck I was doing. It's simple. I was losing my drive to write stories because of college, and now I'm in college. So don't expect me to do story updates super fast.
Nobody cares about your personal problems, you mighty bitch.
No, to be fair, Max and I were able to output quite a steady rate of garbage, and that's what we were both in college, and I was in the middle of my finals. And I passed all my finals.
Well, to be fair, Sneaky, the story writing and the interaction with me was what was keeping you sane during your finals.
That is also true.
So it's not quite a fair measure.
Anyway, so far what you've missed, fellas, thank you all for joining us today. So far what you've missed is Edgy John, Salem wants his D, and he wants her V. Also Tales of Berseria.
Yeah. Get ready for this to get about as uncomfortable as it did in the Twilight books, by the way.
I know, Calvin, I graduated like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh no, Max! Scorched
Max.
Shattered Steel is 4 years old.
Oh.
Oh.
Sneaky, I'm sorry to tell you this. Isn't it 5 or 6?
No, because if it was 6, then we started that in freshman year, and we definitely did not start it in freshman year.
Oh,
And we
God.
definitely didn't start it in sophomore year either.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm definitely sure. Because I remember specifically I was complaining to you about how hot it was in my room. And that was junior year.
You'd also yell at the weed dude that liked to chill outside your window for some fuck all reason.
Yes, I did that a lot as well.
Anyway, because someone smoking weed yelled very loudly and the smell of weed would very quickly go away.
Fucking asshole! Get out of here!
My favorite part was like they thought they were being so like at least my roommate smoked weed, but because 2 out of the 3 people were like, "Hey, we don't smoke weed," do you know what he did? He waited until 1 in the morning when he was up anyway, and then he smoked and he blew it straight out the window, and everybody was fine.
Yep. Anyway, so Dream, no, stay away from me! The young 6-year-old blonde-haired boy screamed in defense as the villagers mercilessly beat him.
Oh wait, I thought we were talking about Catholic priests.
No, we're talking about villagers this time. So hey, it's progress.
What if it's a village?
Still
of
no
Catholic
villagers.
priests?
In the ending, it didn't stop the monster that was coming close to him. It was a traditional bipedal.
Father O'Neill, don't do it!
There's no Jimmy glued to your crotch. Hey, progress. Is this a Naruto story in disguise? Yes. Yes, this is indeed a
Yes, we
Naruto
covered
story
that.
in disguise.
It's so far it's not, because Sneaky took some artistic liberties in just the first 2 sentences, but it might as well be.
In the
based on
end,
the
traditional bipedal forms of lycanthropes, more commonly known as Beowulf. What's the point of that fucking sentence? It's a fucking 6-year-old. Why the fuck the 6-year-old be? I am surrounded by lycanthropes, more commonly known as the Beowulf. Said no
he's
fucking 6-year-old ever. We are John. God damn it, I sleep. John is just Aryan Naruto.
Yep, that checks out. Everything here is correct.
But
It stood on their hind legs. What is with this fucking butchering of the plural singular?
The plural singular? You want to try that again, Gov?
Dichotomy.
There we go.
I'm very unamused right now.
God damn, I'm fucking chat.
I've given up on chat. What they say now?
Super Saiyan or Super Aryan. They can't decide.
Chat, you stop that.
The beast was snarling as it moved closer to the child. No! The screamed.
The
Yeah.
scream, eh?
The screamed as he covered his head, curled up his body, and laid down on the down as he was crying.
Down on the down, you say?
Just keep in mind, this person admitted at the time of writing this, they're in college now.
They are in college now.
Are you sure? Are we sure they're in college? Could they just be lying?
Of course,
Lying
lying
about the fact that they passed English class.
This is the internet. You always assume they're
It
lying.
looks like the author forgot about
hold on,
the child
hold on.
who gave up.
They could be an art major.
That's true. They
Oh,
could be an art major.
That is... Oh, that's mean.
No, what's mean is going to Cal Art and getting worse.
Going where?
I have no
Cal
idea.
Art. So Cal Art, California art. It's a specific style of art that's propped up in recent years. Most notably,
Propped up or cropped up?
been propped up. And most notably, Adventure Time, Steven Universe.
So trash.
Yeah. It's a specific style of art that's being taught at a specific school called California Art College. And
California Art College needs to learn how the fuck to draw people. And
yeah,
faces.
well, it's a new style of modern art or some shit like that.
Listen, the only modern art I want to see is an Art Deco house. And that's
The Beowulf opened his mouth and bit at the child. I thought it was an ant before. And bit at the child. Huh? The child looked up to see he was floating, or more like dangling, since the Grim was holding his shirt by the mouth. What are you doing? The boy asked in fear as he was still hanged in the air.
I'm sorry. The previous sentence is very awkwardly worded. Apparently his shirt has a mouth?
Yes. The Grim didn't answer. Not that it could. Instead, the Grim just ran as it was going to somewhere or someone. Where are we going? The boy asked again, but didn't get an answer. Scene change. Dark mountains. After what it seemed hours and hours of running and running, the Beowulf finally reached its destination. What it reached to seemed mountains, a purple mountain with dark red purple crystal, and a gloomy mist surrounding the entire mountains. The boy felt even more fear as this place held death in its grasp. He wanted to scream, but he couldn't. But he wanted to yell, but he couldn't. But he wanted
Mr.
to make,
Shatner,
but he couldn't.
please
No, he
stop.
is literally copying. He is doing this. That is the punctuation in this sentence.
he isn't wrong. That's the problem. He isn't wrong.
Just the presence of this place.
Calvin, you leave Frank Miller out of this.
The presence of this place would freeze the hearts of many. The Beowulf moved closer to the mountain.
Maybe Frank Miller did write it.
And started to climb up it, making sure that the boy didn't get injured as it scaled up the wall. I thought it was scaling up a mountain. Once it reached the top of the mountain, the Beowulf softly dropped the boy to the ground. Ah, so you finally brought him to me, said a dark, yet feminine voice. Can't have dark feminine
A dark
voices?
yet feminine voice as opposed to what? A dark yet masculine? Like, who cares?
It's a Yowie!
What did you just fucking say?
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
No, yowie babowie, Calvin. Anyway, the boy looked up to see a woman with skin!
Oh, good. She has skin then, does he? Does she?
Hang on,
no,
hang on. Are we
I'm just used to
missing
seeing ones
something?
without skin.
Hold
Oh,
on.
yeah, Sneaky didn't finish the sentence.
I know, I was going to continue this sentence, but
It's
I
so
just
aware.
stupid.
I just felt like that was too good of something to pass up on. I am Salamania Windrunner, and I have come to marry you.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to talk anymore. Show's over.
That is a
it.
deathly
I'm gonna
paler,
go watch Womble.
covered with tortoises, deep red, purple veins that run up her arms and face. The wait.
Scalera.
But that's not how they spelled it.
Oh God, how did they spell it?
Is that how you spell it? So it is. Sclera. Well done, author. I thought you fucked that. No, you did fuck that up.
He misspelled it, right? He used
You made it A-E.
I think that's the. I think that's actually how you're supposed to write it for multiple, but that's usually unnecessary. I'm actually
No,
not
I
certain.
think it's
I
actually
don't
one of those words that doesn't have a plural form.
Hmm. It might not. What if you add the E at the end of it? Like, does that change the result?
It's okay.
What?
The plural of scalera is either scalare AE, scalare AS, or scalare Greek word thing. So I guess that is true.
Greek word thing.
Look, it's like an upside down E and another E fused together.
All right, Greek word thing is acceptable.
Okay then.
Yes, the Sylvana Windrunner Nardo fic where she saves him from the villagers.
Oh,
that was
please
beating
don't
him
mention
up.
that. I'd forgotten about that. Gee, just for that, I'm gonna remind you that the Sylvanas Windrunner Harry Potter one exists.
What's that one?
Remember, that's the one where she just uses a Hearthstone and it opens up into the middle of a subway, into like the middle of like a park tunnel, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll just step out."
Right. Yeah, she just ends up in the park. Yeah.
And she's like, "This is not where I intended to go, but I'll just let the portal close first."
Calvin, I have no idea. Isley might know. She's the archivist. But honestly, I have made 198 episodes of this. I have no idea when we've covered which
I was gonna
story.
say, I've been present for like 196 of them. We have no idea.
we have over 400 hours now
Of this
of
trash.
this.
If someone wants to go through, do us a favor, go through and compile how many hours of this show we've spent boiling with anger.
Oh, that's the majority of it. It just turns into a big ball of bad fanfics. Honestly, at this point, they kind of just blend into each other. Okay. Of her eyes are jet black and her irises glow red. At least he actually got the parts of the eye correct, and we didn't have pupils that are homo.
Who knows?
She has a black diamond-shaped marking in the center of her forehead. Clearly, she is evil Tsunade.
No! Not evil Tsunade!
She's a Koa-wold.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Now, I want to see someone do a Stargate Naruto Ruby crossover in which Salem exists because a Goa'uld got into Tsunade and turned her evil.
I'd watch it. I'd also read it.
Yeah, you'd watch it?
I would watch it. I also said I'd read it. Like, I'm saying if someone made a show out of it, I would watch it.
Anyway. Blah, 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 blah. Welcome, John Ark, my love. The woman.
Whoa, Salem! This is a literal child.
He is literally 6. You are literally infinite years old. The woman started to move closer to him, which caused John to move back. Once he moved back for a little, he felt his back touch the leg of something he forgot was still here.
It's a penis!
Brain, why?
Sneaky, what did your brain do?
A giant penis with Beowulf legs!
Oh, I'm so glad I made you think of that.
Oh,
But it's not even like an anatomical penis, it's just like a clay penis.
Wait, what? Now we're bringing claymation into this?
Yes! That's why I was like, why brain?
So let me get this straight. The scene is occurring as normal in the Ruby animation style, claymation dick,
Yes.
with Beowulf legs.
Yes.
Can you imagine what will happen if someone ever tries to make an animated series out of our idiocy?
I honestly would love for us to get to the point where we actually have fans who are good enough at animation who will actually take the random weird shit we say and make one-off animations with it. I would love to get to that.
I would love to get to that point too, but here's the thing, I'm just confident it'll happen.
Ruby is about animal cruelty being institutionalized. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm angry about that. Anyway, where was I?
mine is
Huh? Max?
no, not even on a technicality. Like animal cruelty would imply that the animal did nothing to warrant
Yeah,
what happens to them. These things actively hunt out humans.
like it's not like if a rabid dog is attacking you and you punch it in the face, that's not animal cruelty. That is self-preservation.
Well, I mean, according to PETA, it's animal cruelty.
Yeah, according to PETA,
Yeah,
Pokemon is
I'm
about
sorry.
violence.
Yeah, like as strange as it might sound, I would not consider PETA the foremost expert on what actually constitutes animal cruelty.
I think that's your bias showing.
Partially, I'll admit that. Yeah.
John slowly looked back to see that the Beowulf was still here.
You thought it just evaporated, Gov.
Yes. So Calvin, a quick rundown on the names that occur in Ruby. Monty Ohm was immensely uncreative. He had Cardin Winchester versus Jeanne d'Arc. You know, he had Pyrrha Nikos, Pyrrhic Victory. She dies.
You know,
Yeah, but she doesn't even win.
No, but she does technically win, because with her death, the dragon is stopped from attacking Beacon.
But no, she's not even the reason the dragon dies.
But she is
No,
the
but her-
reason why the dragon died.
yeah, like she is the catalyst for Ruby's Eyes awakening, for one thing. She was also able to hold Cinder off long enough for Cinder to get fucked up by whatever Ruby did.
Indeed.
So
she
Yes,
is
that is
Pyrrhic
true.
that
Victory.
is still a Pyrrhic victory. There is still a victory in her death. Also, I can't believe I'm saying this, I think Fate is more subtle with how it handles historical figures than Ruby was.
At least Fate doesn't tell us the names
like-
right away.
Also,
I got curious.
Cinder
And don't-
Fall. She's the Fall Maiden. Fucking Summer Rose.
Yeah.
Probably the Summer Maiden. Like... Fucking White
Crow.
Schnee. Her last name means snow.
Yeah, Weiss means white. Let's
White
not
snow,
forget.
as
Let's not
opposed
forget.
to yellow snow.
Crow
And her older
Raven.
sister, Winter Snow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's a lot of like yeah, Crow and Raven, Ozpin, clearly a reference to the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Glinda, Good Witch.
Yes, the
Glinda,
Wizard of
the
Oz and
Good
the Good Witch. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. No, don't forget the witch's name was actually Glinda, I think.
Yes,
Glinda,
she was
the
Glinda
Good
the
Witch.
Good Witch.
Like that
Yes.
that one was the most obvious.
Yes.
And somehow Fate Stay Night was like more subtle. I went digging. Apparently Medusa's name translates to protector. Guess what her backstory is?
She protected her.
Fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full on. And that was a guy
Oh,
who
yes.
probably didn't have much access
Can't
to the
forget
internet.
Roman Torchwick, also known as a Roman candle, who uses a Roman candle as a weapon.
Yeah, that one was actually the most subtle. It took a while to catch on, like, oh god, his cane is literally just a Roman candle. Okay. That one
Yeah.
actually took a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna
Or
say that
Penny.
one was, relatively speaking,
Everyone-
compared to the rest of them, subtle.
Everyone immediately knew what Penny was.
Yeah.
Like,
Penny,
it was-
Copper, ha ha ha. She's
No,
made...
not even that. Yeah, like Penny, Pinocchio, Copper, Robot,
Yeah.
Real Girl, Boy, all that shit. Like,
Also,
that one,
robot
everyone immediately
made of
knew.
copper. Ah.
I don't think she is made of copper. That's a
There's
horrible
going to be a
material.
lot of copper in her construction.
Not
Unless
necessarily.
they use gold
They
wiring.
might- Yeah, she seemed to be all copper, at least wiring-wise.
Well, for wiring, copper is one of the best. I mean, it's
Well,
not
the only thing
best,
better
but
than
it's so
copper
readily
is gold.
available. No, there's a couple of
Silver.
things better than copper, but copper's
yeah.
just so cheap and widely available.
That's what I'm saying, though, is robot, penny. Pennies are made of copper.
Pennies are no longer made of copper.
I know, they're now more of a zinc copper mix than a copper zinc
Oh,
mix.
no, it's like 2% copper to like 98%. Like, it is.
I am aware of the statistics. I actually looked these up so I could write that clever fucking code name for her that 0 people got.
I mean, I got it.
Because
But-
I explained it to you.
I understood it was a penny joke.
I'm curious, is that better or worse than Ferrus Manus, who leads the Ferrus Manus with his ferocious Manus?
Look,
We're just moving on.
yeah.
The Grim, blah 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 blah, 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 blah. Something crazy happened when he touched the Grim leg. The Grim turned black, white, and red energy, and then that same energy started to flow into John, almost like he was absorbing it. John looked at his hand in surprise and didn't notice that the woman was now looking in an elated expression. Amazing. John
Why
looked...
is she happy that he can eat her creatures? Listen, listen, if I spent all this time making horrible creatures of darkness, and someone showed up and could eat them for power, I'd be like, hell no. Do you know how long I spent making these things? Nah, you don't get to zerg my creatures of darkness. Get the hell out.
I know what Ferris means, I see. That's probably wrong. At such a young age, you are able to use at least half of your semblance. You really are the one I was waiting for, my John Arc.
None of that is how that works.
The woman said with a dark, creepy, and loving smile.
Adult? We need an adult!
We need a different adult!
1,000 years old!
We need a different adult!
I haven't seen this much jailbait since I played Fire Emblem Awakening.
Oof.
John looked at him.
Wait.
Who are you? How do you know my name?
John, she's been stalking you.
John questioned as he finally said his first words since he came to this place. Didn't he say shit before? No, he didn't. Okay. Who am I, you ask? You may call me Salem. Salem introduced herself to John as she picked him up. I have been watching you for a long time now. Whoa, we're getting to Twilight levels of fucking creepy here.
Oh no, we are past Twilight, dude. At least Twilight was ostensibly never pedophilic.
Did warn you, by the way. Get ready for it to get as creepy as Twilight.
No, Atin, did you not ever hear about the later books?
No!
Oh,
yeah, I stayed away from it like a sensible human being.
Okay, so in the later books, the main character gets pregnant.
I don't have to roll around in shit to know that it's shit.
Atin, let him explain. Be quiet.
Continue.
So in the later books, after she finally picks to fuck the vampire instead of the werewolf, she gets pregnant with a half-vampire baby, right?
Yes, I knew about that.
And then the werewolf imprints on the unborn baby. And by imprints, I mean sexually attracted to forever.
What?
Yes!
I'm surprised you didn't know about that.
And the author tried to spin it as, oh no, he's not sexually attracted to her right now. He'll help raise her like a second father. And then when she's of age, he'll fuck her.
Not materially better, author.
Yeah, that also ignores a lot of, proven psychology. I wasn't aware of that part.
Yes.
Are people seriously not aware that that is an actual psychological thing where if you grow up under the same roof with someone else, you are physically incapable of making the jump to looking at them as attractive in that manner?
Less capable.
Well, okay, so you're less than capable?
It's still a thing that occurs, unfortunately. But, there is a lot of chemical and psychological brainwashing going on to make sure you don't fuck people close to you. In terms of growing up.
Because it turns out, as the ancient Egyptians found out, that causes problems.
Well, as the Muslims found out, as the Romans found out, as pretty much any civilization that has existed for more than 10 years has found out.
I mean, it wasn't as bad. I'm not saying the Romans didn't do it. I'm saying, for the most part, the Romans didn't do it. It wasn't like we must keep the dynasty pure. They didn't go hard into it like the Egyptians did.
Anyway, I have been waiting for you. Why? It's simple, really. What others couldn't see in you, I saw it clear as any day. The potential that your family has abandoned is something I will never let go.
Salem, you are not helping your case. Wee-hoo, wee-hoo, wee-hoo. The police are on the way.
Hi, I'm Chris Hansen.
Sneaky, we're going to make a parody of your story, and that's all it's going to be.
You
He's
need
going
to
to
stop.
offer Salem a plate of
No,
cookies.
no, okay, I got a story, shitpost, Ruby story idea. Chris Hansen, each chapter's a one-shot where he sits down with the various characters people have tried to pair with John, who are way overaged for him. So, like, Raven, Glinda, Salem, Summer Rose.
I was gonna say, at some point, I'm sure someone's done it with Ozpin and Crow.
Chris Hansen sitting Ozpin down being like, look, you can't keep underage girls in your secret basement.
You can't keep unconscious underage girls in your secret basement.
Right. Hi, I'm Chris
Permanently
Hansen.
unconscious.
Yeah, indeed.
It is for the protection of Remnant. Ozpin, that's deflection.
She is currently chained up inside a device she cannot leave if she was conscious, which she is not.
Ruby, every time he offers a plate of cookies, Ruby will just appear and steal the cookies.
Hi, I'm Chris Hansen.
Oh, that's a joke. That's a joke that, like, no one under 15 will get.
Oh god, you're right.
And probably most of the foreign viewers won't get it either.
I have no idea what the fuck you were talking about, Calvin. Anyway, John looked at her with a surprised look, but then he looked down in tears as he remembered his family abandoning him because he was weak.
Again with the parents abandoning people because of weakness.
Honestly, I am really confused when this fucking turned into fucking Sparta. Where the parents would leave the babies alone
You know
on
what?
like that
Just
hill.
once, I want to see one where it's got like John's family being like, "You are so incredibly weak that you are a massive shame to the Ark family name."
Yeah, no,
We're
honestly,
gonna fix that.
okay.
We're gonna fix that through love and support.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, the only precedent we have for shitty parenting of, like, abandoned because weak is Raven. That is the only one. The other bad parent we have is Shock.
We don't even actually have that as an actual confirmation, because it's entirely possible that Raven was like, fuck this shit after Summer died.
I mean, that is her stated reason.
It sort of is. I mean, that's why she fucking walked out on Ozpin.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm
she-
saying. Like, the reason she walked out on Ozpin was like,
Yeah,
nah.
No, she
nah.
didn't leave Yang because of that. She abandoned Yang before that, remember? Yang is
Did
the
she?
older sister. Yes!
That's right, she did.
That, or Tai Yang was incredibly lucky, and polygamy is totally legal in Vale.
I mean,
okay, look.
just because he had 2 kids from 2 different women doesn't mean polygamy was legal. It just means Tai Yang was an asshole.
I'm pretty sure they refer
you
to
wanna
as
rethink
a
that?
wife in each instance.
Isley,
So,
you want to reword that?
what did Isley do?
Didn't Summer marry Ty after Summer died?
Oh, that's... Oh, boy.
She came
You know,
back
I'm
as a
pretty sure
zombie.
Summer's referred to as wife at some point, as is Raven. So
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if polygamy was a thing, even if it wasn't common.
The whole population is in danger. They might very well...
Again, I want to reiterate, the population of the world is more or less restricted to 4 cities, with a very small percentage of the population appearing in towns outside these cities that have been known to go and get wiped out, like, multiple times per year. So I honestly would not be surprised if no one had a problem with polygamy at all.
Honestly, especially if it's like an accomplished hunter like Tai Yang, they're probably like, yes, have more kids.
Please, more kids. Anyway, he wasn't special like his sister. He didn't have a power aura and semblance like his father.
Power aura.
And he couldn't use magic like his mother.
I
Apparently,
can't see it, but my eye is twitching.
apparently Ozpin is Grill in this one. And John's mother.
What? What?
Well, the only
Sneaky's just being sneaky. He's
only
making
5 people can be magical. That's the 4 maidens in Ozpin.
that. I mean, it's also completely possible that she could be one of the maidens, but
I was gonna say that I find that a more likely explanation.
Okay, look, the author's writing a John times Salem story. I'm really not putting anything out of the realm for them to write. Anyway. It was because of these things. He was abandoned by them. Do you want to be strong? Do you want to be unstoppable? Do you want to be a force that would tremble in the shoes because of your presence? Do you want to be loved more than anyone in this world? Salem asked him. John.
Why have you suddenly started talking like Wendigo from Divinity 2?
Alright. Later, Calvin. He wanted to become strong, stronger than anyone. He wanted to make a difference for himself. He wanted revenge. Salem smiled at his answer and held him closer. Then close your eyes and sleep. From now on, you will serve me, my love. Salem met her lips with John as he closed his eyes. It was because of this event everything will change.
Whoa! We're done here.
Oh, fucking god. Hey, you want to take over this part so I can just go fucking bash my head in?
No, I don't. I'm not gonna take over. I have some standards left.
I'm just here to consult and derail.
No, you don't. You don't have standards. Don't fucking lie to me.
Look, no, you listen here. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, what are you willing to put up with? And I'm stealing this from Aaron Hansen. The answer is not fucking this.
I can respect that. I will need a lot more vodka to respect it more. Scene change. Airship. John suddenly woke. Man, I haven't had that dream in a while.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had my repressed memories where an older lady picked me up, creeped on me, and then did terrible things to me for many, many years. Probably because it was a repressed memory.
John rubbed his face as he went to the bathroom. As he got to the bathroom, John looked at his appearance. As of now, he was 17 years. The upper part of his head was covered by black sash.
Still not legal.
It was covered by a black sash that covered his left eye, but showed his right eye and a bit of his blonde hair. So he... okay.
He had an eye patch, and he looked like Saber from Fire Emblem Echoes.
Yep.
Got it.
He wore a jet black shirt with a blood red hoodie. On the back of the hoodie was a design of a spider web with a tarantula. The tarantula has a skull on the lower part of its body. The skull's mouth was open and the skull's mouth had cracks in it. Some of the cracks were huge and some of the cracks were bleeding. Wow, that is an overly intricate design. So it's a spider web with a tarantula on it that has a skull on it, that has its mouth hanging open, that has cracks in its mouth, and some of those cracks were bleeding blood.
Dude, I want to know what kind of screen print they're using, because that is, like, the most detailed thing ever. Also, it'd be a hideous shirt because it'd be horribly, horribly over-designed and busy. No one in their right mind except an edgy teenager fresh out of Hot Topic would wear it.
Isley mentions that.
That's right, I'm taking shots at Hot Topic.
Isley mentions in certain areas 7 is the legal age.
Guess what, Isley? Those places aren't the land of the free. And home of the we don't fuck children.
He also wore pure white pants with pitch black vein designs on it. Holy shit! Can you get edgier? He also wore red gloves and black and white combat boots. The answer to that question was yes. He also had a sword in a sheath on his lower back, covering up the spider design, I guess. And it was 3 feet long! Sorry, that was his dick. The sheath was the same length as the blade, which was 7 feet long. And the handle was 3 feet long, making the sword 10 feet long. It's basically Rokuro's sword, Kurogain, the sword that he keeps on his back, but the Kurogain I gave John is taller. Next, he had a white gun holster with a black gun and a silver cross design. It's Zavid's
Okay, author,
gun.
we need to talk about color theory and how badly you're mangling it.
It's Zavid's gun, Siegfried.
Do you seriously not know how to say Siegfried?
You know how to say Siegfried. Overall, he made a huge change for himself over the 11 years he spent with Salem. He is now a pedophile as well.
Good. Good, just what we needed.
Salem, I know you're watching. Why did you show me that dream again?
Oh, good, she could just show him dreams. God.
Hey, John, remember that time I kidnapped you and made out with you? Now I do. Thanks, Salem, my love.
I was trying to forget that.
What are you talking about, my love? I didn't do anything. That's just your semblance reminding you who you are.
What? Shut the fuck up. Keep moving.
Oh, I see. That makes perfect sense. John
No,
rubbed
it doesn't.
the back of his head. His semblance
Author,
has
I
been
could
getting
I
to
could
him.
say the sky is purple.
No,
because
Sneaky's
I
adding
decided
shit
it
in.
is.
Calm down, Atin. Sneaky's being sneaky and adding words in that don't exist.
I did not mangle the message he was trying to send, though.
That may be the case, but you've deprived me of a rant, and I am upset now.
His semblance was getting to him. As the days passed, his semblance was becoming more ferocious, brutal, and hungry. He didn't know why it was becoming like. He did ask Salem about it, but all she said was it was natural in his case, and to let it guide him. Why do I feel like this is going to go into a rape scene? John couldn't help but sigh at his situation, but he was brought out of his thoughts as he felt the airship rumble a little. I guess it's time for me to get off. John looks back at Salem. If you see anyone, or you know, or if anything pops up, let me know. A bloodthirsty smile appears on John's face as a white and black aura surrounds him. I want to be a real good
please
time.
Stop with the white and the black, author.
I want to have a real good time when I get my hands on them. I want to snap into a Slim Jim.
No.
A Batman.
You are not Batman, and Batman doesn't have a Slim Jim.
Batman is a Bat Jim.
I mean, I'm sure. You know what? I'm willing to bet that at some point during the cheesy Adam West Batman serial, bat jerky was a thing.
Quick, Robin, hand me my bat anti-shark repellent.
Please don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Of course, John. Salem disappeared with a dark smile on her face. John quickly calmed himself down as he walked out of the bathroom. Soon, the fun was about to begin. No, Anakin! Not the younglings!
Remember, no remnant.
Oh, No, Atin, it would be more like, remember, no Grim.
Except I'm pretty sure he's going to be killing people.
That's what I'm saying. That's the point. The purpose of the no Russian scene was to make it look like not Russians were doing it.
Yeah, I'm aware.
So the equivalent in this
no Grim.
instance
Gotcha, yeah.
would be no Grim. I enlarged the pic for the fic. It's something. Yeah, I know. We saw it earlier. We
commented on it, actually.
Scene change. Beacon. So this is Beacon. Damn, this place is huge for an academy.
As opposed to what?
Yeah, and it's... Wow! This place that trains hunters from all around the world and is known as one of the best academies is really big! I would have never guessed! I know I don't have a face cam, but I'm looking at you in disbelief, Arthur. Anyway,
Yo, Max, we're getting a late summer banner in Heroes.
Cool.
He then heard the sound of an explosion and someone yelling that brought his attention back down to Remnant. And he automatically turned to see what was going on. Some girl in a white dress with white hair was currently yelling at some poor red-hooded girl lying on the ground with a small crater around her. John idly adjusted his weapon slightly. He observed with a bored expression as the black-haired girl stopped, picking up a vial, the chance of dust before approaching the two arguing girls. Okay, you know what? We've actually been at this for an hour now. And this is horrible. I think we've all established to everyone here this is horrible and garbage.
Also creepy.
Yeah, also
Let's
pedophilic.
not forget that.
Also pedophilic. So let us move on. And yeah. Okay. So our next fic of the day will be a non-Ruby story. So let's go with let's go with this one. This is about as far from a Ruby story as you can get. So this is called Harry Potter and the Aftermath. I believe this came from Zexels. So we can all thank Zexels for contributing.
Crucify him! No.
It appears on here there's a good 8 in 10 chance it's garbage that's hardly difficult to prove. More like 9.9 out of 10. 9.99 out of 10. It's garbage. Anyway. Harry Potter and the Aftermath.
Oh boy.
Who can walk away from a title like Master of Death? Oh, God!
Look at this here wall of text.
No, Zax, this came from your monthly recommendation post. From your program.
Oh God.
So, Isley, I have found someone who does larger walls of text than you.
This guy.
Feel good and rejoice, my friend, because somebody is worse than you. Remember, when times are tough and you're down on your luck, you're not this guy. I'm sorry, 5K faves.
Oh. Alright, so I might have to step out of the stream early because my neck is starting to pulse from the built-up anger in my system.
Yeah, you should play more Dota, son.
No,
Harry looked at the wall of text before him, and clearly nothing is important here if it's in such a large block of text that makes me want to go mind-numbingly bored while reading it. So we're just gonna keep going until we don't have walls of text. And blah 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 blah, the war is over. Blah 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 blah, let us all remember those who have died. Blah 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 blah, walls of text, 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 master of death, walls of text.
Behold, my new attack, wall of text.
Honestly, I think Trump could make the wall along the Mexican border with just the sheer number of walls of text that have
Hey
occurred
Max,
in
do me a
fan
favor,
fiction.
work up a trap card for wall of text in Yu-Gi-Oh!
No. Really don't want to. If I put wall of text, what's going to happen is it's going to give me a monster with a wall of text.
The repercussions would not be felt until several years later. In the meantime, a wall of text appears. Blah blah blah, Hermione. Magic muggles. Blah blah blah, fascination. Blah blah blah, where she's gone now, Ron complained, while scanning for Hermione. Blah blah, blah blah blah. Oh, Ron, Harry, this is Bruce. He knows a lot about microscopic origin of quantum chaos and rotational dampening. That's not actually a theory. Look, at least I looked up actual mathematical and scientific theories when I was writing the bullshit library chapter that is yet to be posted of Dark Souls fic that will someday be posted. Honestly, yes, this is actually one of the better walls of text. All things considered. And blah 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 blah, pointless dialogue. Blah 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 blah, pointless dialogue. Blah blah. Harry, you have to see this. Look, we can fly without magic. It's a plane.
Hey, Sneaky, what did you say was bullshit that they mentioned?
The microscopic origin of quantum chaos and rotational dampening?
Oh, well, I found a report submitted December 14th of 1992 on the microscopic origin of quantum chaos and rotational damping.
Oh, well, then
You can download it PDF.
Also known as fucking dumped.
Then I will salute you, author, with the drink.
I think that's what I hate the most about quantum anything. You can
Let me
throw
know.
out
We can
a combination of words, and it could be a thing that someone submitted. That terrifies me.
Rotational dabbing?
No, she.
You did not
First off,
just
that's
say that.
rotational daping.
Sorry.
So
This is the police, not the police. There's only dabbing here.
Just shut the fuck up and read the story.
Well, we can go to the next chapter, or we can move on to a new story.
I mean, that's up to Max.
why would it be up to me? I still know nothing about Harry Potter, even
You're
though
the
I've read a book
consultant.
and a half.
What do you consult we should do here?
We are consulting you.
I say that you should pull up something else, please. I'm
Something
scared to
else it
see more
is.
walls of text.
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? This story. Ah! Why?
Not my grail. Haven't we looked at this? Or
No, we have not. We've looked at stuff from this author before.
Oh god.
Wait, why was it on chapter 2?
Rotational dabbing. What do you mean? Oh, it's because this is from Zex's program.
Obviously, they meant damping, not dampening. Damping is an actual thing. Welcome to the English language.
Dab.
What is damping?
I'll damp you. Not my grail. An item that can grant any wish. A realm rife with endless possibilities. A war seemingly without end. A group of impossibly powerful beings.
Why do we have
each seeking their own destiny amidst it all. And here I am, caught up in it again. And why should I care after all? It's not my grail. Part of the Not Going Home series contains elements from Fate, Extra, Extelia, Naruto, Time Saver, Times Narrow. Times Mordred? Question mark?
Why? This is Naruto and Fate. Why is there a picture of Zangetsu? Author, I hate you.
Because the
he
author
doesn't
is...
get cover art.
Yeah,
That's just his profile.
That's his profile pic of Neon Zangetsu. That's his name. This is part of a standalone segment of the Not Going Home series, entailing the chaotic antics of a somewhat immortal Naruto wandering through various universes and timelines in search
I've
of a
never heard
purpose.
that. What the hell do you mean by semi-immortal? Either they're immortal or they're not.
Okay, I believe the way they're using it is Naruto can die to being stabbed, but not to age and shit.
You know, like natural causes won't take him out, but
So
take
he's
his head off.
elf. What I'm
Yes.
hearing is Naruto's become a knife ear.
Yes. Anyway, that's racist.
Listen, I will be racist against a fictional race.
Now, we did, in fact, cover this previously, a section of this, of the Gone Home series. If you remember the Naruto Sekiri crossover, where Naruto was pretending to be a soldier, and then when the Sekirei killed all of the soldiers, and Naruto was like, lol, I'm just gonna trash all of you.
Was that this guy?
That was this guy.
Wasn't that one like mildly entertaining, and then it quickly got like cringe?
No, I'm pretty sure it was cringe from the beginning, but... Anyway. So, I just discovered Fate Stay Night! Published January 6th. Just discovered Fate Stay Night. I suppose we should thank Fate Extelia thank for that. Don't even get me started on Nero or Tomomo or Altera. Speaking of which, if you're not familiar with Fate Extra or Extella, you're gonna be confused. From where I started watching Fate Stay Night, found out the whole multiverse thing and whatnot, later made my head spin like crazy, but I suppose it's to be expected. I was
No,
aware
it's
of
really
the
not that
games.
confusing if you're capable of basic logic, actually.
Yes, well, most people aren't. I was aware of the games and Saber in hindsight, but holy crap, that's a lot of movies, shows, and books, man! In all honesty, I don't know whether to go after Fate's Day Night. Zero, perhaps. Heaven's Feel, Grand Order, Apocrypha. Also, fuck Shinji. Fuck him with a rusty hammer. I hate that character. A lot. This is a long author's note, so I'm gonna stop. On another note, I would like to continue my author's note on a more serious note with a serious tale of a nonsensical story. I now present to you, Not My Grail. Ah! You're shocked, I see. Well, that's only natural. Magi are clever and calculating creatures, certainly not fools who would entrust their lives to me. Oh, that sounds almost poetic. Shame it doesn't apply. You're not entirely human, are you? What gave it away? Was it the eyes? Point taken. A servant and her master. Yeah, it's from Mixtella. Here we are at last, and today I shall recount my tale of how I met my waifu Saber. No, that sounds wrong. I'm talking about her, after all. Is it wrong to love multiple facets of the same entity? I wonder about that. You know, I feel there's a joke to be made here, but I can't bring myself to say it. You see, to tell her the story in its entirety, I have to regale you about the tale of a certain Roman emperor. Sorry if I've confused you, dear reader. Doubtlessly, you're wondering as to who, the what, when, where, why, and hows of what happened here. In all honesty, I'm not sure. This realm is more convoluted than most, though it's not without its charm. Call them parallel worlds, alternative timelines, or what have yous. The answer remains the same. I did not initially come here for the sake at all. On the contrary, 'twas a far less noble pursuit that drove me here into this realm, or realms, I suppose. But then, I've never seen a universe with so many variants, so many opportunities, routes, choices, decisions, so much! Take a certain chap, otherwise known as Shirio Emiya, for example. Would you believe me if I told you there's more than one of him? Different choices, different outcomes, different personalities. In some realms, he became an entity known as a counter guardian. In others, not. In some, he lived happily ever after. In others, he died.
Back.
You've missed nothing.
He's leaving, not coming back. In
He's
some,
missed nothing.
he didn't
won't
exist
miss
at all. Can you believe it? One road, many endings, or so I believe the saying goes. For a then young wandering deity like myself, a glutton who craved entertainment and delight above all else, it was a godsend. I could relive different stories with different endings every time. Finally, relief from the sheer boredom of it all. I could relive blah 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 blah. More fourth wall breaking blah 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 blah. Ah, no, let me talk about my waifus. Who first, though? Nero? Artura? Saber-san? My dear wife? Oh, wow, 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 wow. Alright, I'll tell them, geez. Basically, the multiverse
God, I hate
theory
this
is a
so much.
bitch. Yeah, honestly, I used to like Neon Zangetsu's stories, and then he stopped updating them and just started making new ones constantly. And then he started doing this sort of shit. Like before, like I remember his old Naruto stories in which like I remember his old Naruto stories where they weren't trash. And like actually just got right into it. But like these days, he's just been really cringe. Anyway, as I was saying, Saber had not expected to be summoned. Nay! Narrow, Claudicius, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that as drunk as I fucking am right now. Fifth Roman Emperor and great tyrant of legend simply hadn't expected this would be the outcome. She'd resigned herself to languish in the throne of heroes for all eternity, to rot away and stew as war after war passed her by. There would be no great conquest for her, the field of battle would never call her name, nor would the distant opera know her voice evermore. Part of her had almost grown to accept that fact, though admitting it galled her pride. Who would want to summon a conqueror forsaken by her own people? Her true name corresponded to the great evil in certain circles, and at the end of her life had been wretched and miserable. That's not how you spell wretched. That's wretched. Wreckid? Wreckid? Either way. I consider Zangetsu to be something of a local puppy that keeps running into a door. They're cute in their own rather odd way. I guess. Blah blah, allies, blah blah blah, thus she was seldom summoned, no Magus would ever wield a wish a weapon, blah blah blah, it's only natural, blah blah blah. No one would trust their lives to me, blah blah blah. She found herself so flummoxed now. What sorcery is this? Oh, that sounds almost poetic. Shame doesn't apply. Whipping about, she found only empty air. Madness. Who or what brought her here? Perhaps not so much summoned as resurrected her to this world by a powerful yet unseen force. This peerless empress in turn voiced her quiet dismay into the grove in which she now found herself. No, hey, fucking Ruby! No! You are wrong, good sir! This is Fate Stay Night crossed over with Fate Extelia, crossed over with Fate Zero, crossed over with Naruto, crossed over with Fate Extra. Welcome to Clusterfuck! This is a tale about an immortal Naruto who gains several waifus.
I wish we were making this up.
Can someone nail me to a cross? Arn, it's been a while. Yeah, Arn doesn't visit us anymore. He hates us now. Blah 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 blah. Ah, so this summoning business actually works. Remarkable! Question mark? Exclamation mark? In a rush of air, Nero found herself aware of a presence lurking behind her. Swiggity swooty, she's taking it up the booty.
I don't think that's how that works.
Bah humbug, there's no such thing as too much suffering. Well, see, you would be right if you didn't bow out all the time. I take Isley here. Isley suffers immensely every single time we have a show. Anyway, blah 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 blah, summon her blade, blah 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 blah, vaulting away. Hey now, is there any way to treat your master? Nero grit her teeth despite herself. And who are you? Did you summon me? For a fleeting instant, she almost thought she saw a muscle jump in his jaw. No, I called you because I want to bask in your beauty. Answer me then, she growled. Are you my praetor? What, you don't believe me? I'm hurt. Well, she wasn't expecting whatever this was. The eyes of amber, born to her jade orbs, with a frightful intensity. Those slitted, cross-shaped pupils. Fucking what? By the power of God in my eyes, I compel you. Framed by whiskered cheeks and a spiky mop of blonde hair, there was a certain rugged beauty to behold in his features, though rough and unrefined. Likewise, his clothing wasn't terribly exceptional, though she did applaud the dash of red and black mingled in his attire, despite the fact the latter consisted of little more than a pair of darkened sandals and pants, replete with pockets and faded red tea, over which he'd thrown a battered orange jacket. Regardless
What the fuck
of
did I
what
just
she
walk back
thought,
into?
it's a waifu fest!
Oh,
You heard us.
he's playing Fate Grand Order?
Yes!
That would make this more tolerable.
What, just a story of Naruto live streaming as he makes pulls?
Yeah.
As I was saying, upon reaching her, he dropped to a knee and extended his hand upward to her royal personage. Though whether in fealty or peace, Nero knew not. Regardless, she wasn't prepared for the abrupt change of pace. The name's Naruto. Naruto is a mocking. He's a mocking.
Why did you
Naruto.
just suddenly turn into Mike Guy?
Youth! He began, statically meeting her gaze in spite of this brief gesture of humility. And you, Nero Claudius, 5th Emperor of Rome, ruler beyond compare! The veracity of his statement, and that of her true name, momentarily struck sense from her as well. No, she's falling heads over heels in love with him already. I humbly present my hand to you as a token of fealty and goodwill in this war to come. Viva Deo Roma Libera! It was free, so you're welcome. I appreciate you giving me your Norse money. Please don't raid it from me later.
Oh no, Sneaky, it's getting rated.
Saber's eyes got really big. Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
I appreciate your patronage regardless of the reason why. And I heartily encourage everyone to patronage me. Nero's face. Nero physically felt her face begin to burn 1,000 shades of red. Such she couldn't even begin to contain herself. Wow. Naruto apparently has unlimited charisma because he just maxed out the relationship bar with Nero in one sentence.
Oh, no, that's the thing with Nero. If you're overly aggressive in your mannerism towards her in that manner, she just falls apart because she's not used to it.
In
That's actually a
short,
character trait.
steam. What nonsense is this? She blurted out, flailing away from him, words tumbling wildly out of her. You cannot simply blurt out such drivel so soon upon our first meeting. More importantly, my true name! How do you know it? Who are you really? Ah! Explanations. I demand them at once. You just wanted to subscribe to me for the extra large eyes. I know the truth. I will admit, that's a really good reason to subscribe to me. So you can extra large eyes at people.
It's a good one. Can people use our emotes outside the channel yet?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yes.
The eyes of Sneaky are upon you. I see all suffering.
I was gonna say that's what we'll have our chat say when we go raid someone else.
Implying we ever fucking stream with an audience outside of this period of time.
Indeed.
And she'll stop me in my sharing gun. Never mind, they're just fat eyes. But no, Arn, you see, the Sharangan is inside the pupils.
Okay. All I'm getting from this is we now need to make some googly Sharingan.
That's emote number 2.
That is emote number 2, the Ascendancy. So remember, tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe to me so we can get Sharingan googly eyes.
Oh my god.
In that order? Alright, here it goes. 1, it's not nonsense if it's true. 2, yes I can. 3, because I'm a fuck mothering god. Fucking fuck you for stealing that from Team 4-star. That's it. I killed a lot of people to get that title and I deserve to be called as such. Look, it was funny when Team 4-star did it because they were funny. It's not funny when you do it because you're not funny. You see the difference, author? You aren't funny. They know how to set up a punchline. You don't know how to set up a punchline. They actually have comedic talent. You have the comedic talent of a wet kitten.
No, wet kittens are actually pretty funny. Think about it.
Okay, I will give you that. They have the comedic talent of a potato.
Potatoes can be pretty funny. I would say the comedic talent of an asparagus. The lowest of the vegetables.
Of an asparagus. I approve. Max can be funny when he wants to be.
I just don't want to be funny that often.
Yeah. Come on, one
Not
of
sure
us
if you're
has to
aware
be
that.
one of us has
Yeah.
to be the straight man.
Yeah, that's pretty much my lot in life.
You say it like you aren't happy to play the straight man.
I mean,
Oh,
I
I
don't
am,
know.
because I get to call people idiots and be right.
They have the comedic talent of a garbage bag. Only funny when you bash someone's
Have you ever
skull.
tried putting a garbage bag
Oh,
over your head and just
wow.
leaving it there? That's hilarious.
I don't know if this is insulting or complimenting. Isley just wrote, damn it, Atin. Atin can be funny on occasion. Oh, occasion? Occasion?
Occasion!
Try
Listen here, I work hard at my shitposts.
By the way, she actually spelled it Atin, A-T-I-N-E, so
It-
I think Sneaky's rubbing off on her.
You need to stop watching this stream. You're becoming like a female version of Sneaky, and that's not okay.
I wholeheartedly approve of such changes.
Do you really want a second you in this world?
Yes. And fourth, I
They get
already
along.
told you who I am. As to whether or not I summoned you, well, he held out his palm. See it for yourself. I shall! Fuming, she seized his hand and peered at it. Saber glimpsed at it. The eldritch symbol was etched into his hand. A series of large rose petals that seemed to ripple in undulating waves. More than that, she felt a connection there.
You know,
A presence synonymous with a fierce force that had reached out to her through the throne of heroes.
I get the
and
feeling the
called her
author did not
hero.
properly research this because she would know that she was summoned for the Grail War because that's how the Grail works in Fuyuki. It just gives all relevant info.
I believe I believe he did mention earlier though that it wasn't a normal summoning in order to more or less ripped her out of the throne of heroes instead of like summoning her.
I mean, I was gone for that bit,
Yeah.
but like, I'll look through it.
According to Aaron, Atin has a tiny dick. I cannot confirm nor deny this, but I will lean towards the confirm angle.
What the fuck does that have to do with any of this?
Arn. It mentioned that she was being reborn rather than summoned. Yeah, I know. Blah blah blah. Command seals. Yep. Okay. Holy Grail War. Nailed it. More importantly, this one. Oh God. The tiniest thorn of pride pricked Nero and held her back from believing him. Many a man in a mangas claimed to be such, but all had been brought low in the end, by her blade or otherwise. She refused to believe a verified deity was standing before her unless proof, utterly insurmountable proof, lay before her eyes. There could be no beauty in making such false claims of godhood. Some might call the Roman emperor a skeptic for this. But it was simply her way. It would take far more than mere word of mouth to convince her of this. Stubbornly, Nero folded both her arms before her bosom
Stubborn about that.
and turned her face to her would-be master. Praetor or not, you can simply not claim to be. Ken will. Blonde replied with a chipper air. Watch! Raising his right hand, he indicated a nearby tree and snapped his fingers. With a thunderous explosion of sundered timber, the mighty oak shattered into a cloud of towering sawdust. Another snap of Nara's fingers, and the dust fully crafted. A cavern made of logs crashed to the floor in its place, roof and all. Saber blinked, momentarily taken aback. Oh, so that is what they called a log cabin then? She never seen a home like this before. There was something enchanting about its humble design, despite its instinctive awe she felt at such a feat.
Okay.
Nero frowned. An
Alright,
impressive trick to be sure, but no means enough to convince her.
Alright, I'm immediately confused now. This is immediately conflicting. Like, she wasn't given the knowledge that she was summoned for the Grail War, but she was still given the
Max,
knowledge
it's
what a
almost like
log
the author has no
cabin
idea
is.
what they're doing.
Okay, A, the author mentioned they had just learned about fate when they wrote this story.
Sneaky, when I learned about Fate and actually got interested, within 2 days I understood the basic rules.
Okay, Max.
That was before getting
Some
into extra
people are
stuff.
mentally challenged and have a hard time understanding concepts. You cannot discriminate against them simply because they are less intelligent. Where's the goddamn plot supposed to come from? Monardo Steamroller. Yes. Simple geography, indeed. Actually, the Romans did not have rudimentary concrete. The Romans actually had concrete that is better than modern day concrete.
I was gonna say, like, their aqueducts are still standing.
Like you don't understand. Roman concrete actually gets stronger the longer it's there.
Hang on. I'm pretty certain that breaks a handful of laws of physics as we know it.
No, it's because normal modern day concrete is a chemically neutral liquid that solidifies. Roman concrete actually is the opposite. Roman concrete actually uses chemical reaction to increase the density and the chemical bonds inside the concrete itself as it ages, because it reacts with the environment around it, and as the air and stuff interacts with the concrete, instead of cracking over time like normal concrete does, it actually hardens. So the longer the concrete sets, it actually gets stronger.
Because they found the miracle concrete.
And why do we not use this all the time?
Oh, because it uses volcanic ash, volcanic rocks, seawater, seashells, and other hard to get lime. Like, for mass production, our concrete's really good.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. Yeah,
The-
volcanic ash. It's Roman concrete is very specific in its chemical makeup, and like the certain shells you have to use, and the certain ash you have to use, and the rocks you have to use. It's all in like the salt content of the seawater. It's all very specific. But it's a superior product, but it's harder to make, obviously, because harvesting volcanoes isn't really a thing you can do. Yeah, and we also only discovered how precisely it was done recently. Like, we lost that technology during the Dark Ages.
Unsurprising.
Oh yeah, the Romans also could make this concrete underwater because it used seawater as a reaction agent to strengthen its consistency. So, the Romans invented some really cool shit, my dudes. They even had steam power, but they actually decided to not use the steam power due to the Roman elites wanting to use slaves instead, because steam power would have required an overhaul in the systems of management they already had set in place with the slaves, and they decided that it was just simply easier to use slaves instead of overhauling systems to use steam power.
Okay, I am so glad to know that civil engineers were still taking civilization over even back then.
No. Civil engineers weren't.
Politicians were. Politicians have been
The civil
taking over
engineers were like,
civilization
use this.
forever.
No, the normal engineers were like, use this. The civil engineers probably agreed with the politicians. Civil engineers aren't good at planning.
No,
Ever.
Isley, correction. We do know how to make Damascus steel now. In the 1920s.
We've known how to make Damascus for a long time.
Yeah, it was around the 1920s, 1930s, I think it was. We figured out how to mass produce Damascus steel in the U.S.
Yeah, I own like 3 Damascus blades.
Now, I will say, though, Greek fire is something we still have not figured out. Because the problem is, we're like, okay, we know it's some sort of napalmy sort of substance, but how the fuck would they get styrofoam in that day and age? We don't know. So we know it's not the way we make napalm, but they still made napalm, and it's just like, how? You're thinking of the specific type of metal the Vikings used. It was a very, very master apprentice secret sect of blacksmiths that passed down special types of steelsmithing, where they basically use steel from India to create a one-time kiln with this iron ore from India, where they would melt this iron ore inside a clay kiln, and the composition of the clay and the carbon used in this kiln would create a very strong sword, to the point where they would literally cut through other that era swords made of iron.
July 14th. This fucking author is an idiot.
No, we still cannot mass produce the Viking metalworking. We know how to reproduce it through the clay working, but we don't actually know why or how it works like that.
Apparently, we still don't know how to make Damascus steel.
Wait, what? Really?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So
Yeah,
even though we
well,
have
it's
a
from
bunch of...
it's the issue is it's from NTD.TV, and my
yeah,
understanding
yeah,
their stuff is like hit and miss.
yeah.
Apparently, ancient
But there's
Rome
a
had
type used by
flexible
Romans.
glass.
Right, yeah. That was probably because of the volcanic ash they used. They used volcanic ash in a lot of shit because they were right next to a fucking large ass volcano. So they had a lot of volcanic ash, and the Romans were like, "What the fuck do we do with this? Let's just put it in everything and see what happens."
Fucking god damn it! Yet another thing music has ruined for me. I can't put in Nordic metal and get like the actual alloys. It's just like, hey, here's a metal band. No, Google, that's not what I want.
Nordic metal. Here, have a band. I mean, you can always include the minus band in your search results. So it'd be more like
Okay, if I do this, no, that's not what I want. God damn it.
yeah, well. No, it specifically says minus hard rock, you piece of shit. Well, the other problem is that apparently Nordic Metal LLC is an actual company. Oh yeah, Woot Steel. I think that's what it was called.
Okay, but what if I?
Yeah, here we go.
I love how off track we've gone. Like we are now on a Nordic metalworking company.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the iron ore we got from India through the trade routes. Yeah. The steel was exported as cakes of steely iron known as woots. Woot steel in India had a high amount of carbon in it. Yep. Anyway. At least we're not in the blah 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 anymore. Yeah. Hey, this is the educational part of the podcast, everyone, where we look up shit and explain history to you as to why the author's wrong. But really, we're actually in it for the history.
Crowbar is schooling you, Sneaky. She has linked you to Damascus Steel in our wiki.
Oh?
Or our server. I don't know why I said wiki.
On our wiki. On our wiki.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
apparently,
Damascus Steel. Here we go.
There's a legend of flexible glass from ancient Rome, in which he brought it to Tiberius. A guy brought a bowl to Tiberius Caesar, who tried breaking it, and all it did was dent the bowl. And the repairman was just like, "Yo, hang on," and pulled out a hammer and just fucking buffed the dent out.
They big fucking don't. You know what? We should have a wiki. Isley, I task you with this great process. You should get a wiki up and running first.
Well, yeah.
Bad idea. No, it's a fantastic idea. Listen to me now. I'm gonna sell you some water filters, and then you're gonna buy my products, and you're gonna get swole. But wait, there's more.
Oh boy.
Yeah, from ingots of Wootz steel. Yeah. Damascus was made out of Wootz. Okay.
Okay, so we haven't completely reproduced it, but like, good enough.
Yeah. Close enough. Yeah.
Like enough that like the modern Damascus steel is significantly stronger than I think carbon 20.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what you normally see with like
Yeah.
blades nowadays, mass-produced blades. And if nothing else, though, it looks hella prettier.
But anyway, so the Romans created some cool ass shit. That was the point of this whole thing. Romans are neat. Also, aqueducts. Anyway, so Naruto invented a wood cabin in front of her. Such a display is not enough to entertain me. Wait for it. As she looked, the very cabin grew legs, picked itself up, and began to dance for her. I almost wish we just went back to reading Wikipedia articles now. Despite its complete and lack of utter mouth. What does a mouth have to do with dancing?
I don't even...
Oh, apparently it's fucking singing. Midway through its melodious tune, the blonde whistled sharply, and the cabin vanished, reappearing in his outstretched hand as a mere toy, one he neatly tucked away in his many pockets. Saber saw it all. Her expression whirled madly between shock, awe, disbelief, and a very real concern. In the end, she managed an elegant sounding, well, wow, Arthur, you've managed to sum up my feelings about your story so far. Well, there's only 15 minutes left. Well, those 15 minutes are going to be 15 minutes of suffering. Want to give me the fucking subscriber roll? You should automatically... Oh, you don't have your account attached to it, I guess. Yeah, Aaron, I can't give you the subscriber roll unless your account is attached to your Twitch account. It's an automatic thing that Twitch does. See? Told you! Naruto slung the words back in her face, beaming. Do you believe me now? Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. She refused to say. Instead, she whirled on him again. You! You're not entirely human, are you?
I get called off the pair of Bluetooth speaker, and what the hell have I come back to?
It's like I said, a retarded puppy. Still kind of adorable, though. Very well. Realizing the futility of her efforts, Saber stifled a sigh.
Wasn't that supposed to be point taken not very well? Did the author already fuck up their own continuity?
Yes, they did. Of course she'd be strapped with someone like this. One just as stubborn as she, no less. Well, at least to keep her on her toes throughout the war, and if she could claim the Grail, then all the better. If she could fulfill her wish, then perhaps... As though sensing the very thought, Naruto piped up once more. Well, the Grail's actually corrupted. What? And I fully intend to do something about that, the self-proclaimed deity continued without missing a beat. Indeed, he waved her very concerns aside with a flick of his fingers. Don't worry, I'm on hand at cleansing stuff. Shouldn't be too hard to purify once we get our hands on it, so what do you say? Yet again, he extended his hand towards her. This time with none of the sass by which she'd come to define him. Nero flicked her gaze downwards. What are you doing? Sealing the guild. Again, that smile of his shining like the sun.
No, it wasn't always corrupted, Isley. I think it was during the Third War it became corrupted.
Yeah, it was during... No.
It was either during the Third or Fourth it was corrupted, and then it got worse going into the
It
Fifth.
was during Zero, I believe, it was corrupted, because it tried summoning an 8th servant, which was Avenger, and then Avenger died, like, immediately, and then got captured by the Grail for the whole Grail wish-granting thing. But the problem was is that Avenger was all the world's evils, so he corrupted the Grail into becoming a monkey's paw instead of a wish-granting device.
Avenger's not summoned until the 5th one, which is what Hollow Ataraxia, I think, goes through.
No, Avenger was summoned before the Grail. 5th Grail War.
I don't believe so. Like, in Zero, Assassin dies immediately. Wait, Zero Avenger? No, wait, it is the, Oh no, that's referring to, it's referring to Eerie from... Wait.
Yes, the Angry Mayu was brought forth during the 3rd and 4th Holy Grail Wars, and the 5th Holy Grail War, Heaven's Feel Route.
Yeah. Pretty certain. Yeah, no, this is from Fate Grand Order, not Fate Zero, not properly at least.
I don't know enough about Fate to comment one way or another. Like, I haven't gone super deep into it.
Well, no, like, Avenger doesn't actually show up in Fate Zero. I think that's from the Grand Order event that occurred.
If
Fate
they're
Zero.
referring to Edmond Dantes as Avenger, then yes, Edmond Dantes.
No, they're referring to Black Irie, which is just like Angra Mainyu manifested in the form of Irisfeel.
I believe.
But that wasn't until the very end, and that wasn't Angra Mainyu getting out of the Grail. That was Angra Mainyu trying to move to the Lesser Grail for that war. So I think
formed through Angra Mainyu possessing the remains of Irisfeel personality through the Greater Grail, manifested in Grand Order, she takes on the persona of Justice Lizrich von Eisenburn, but can rather be said to be the remnants of the Greater Grail tainted by the world's evils, or aka the Black Holy Grail, in contrast to the other Israfils manifesting as a White Holy Grail. Wow.
Grand Order does so much to fuck with the timeline.
I'm actually impressed how far Grand Order goes to gender bend literally fucking everyone. Like, hey guys, here's this character we've invented. Okay, that's cool. He's the world's evils. Oh, also we're gender bending him into a version of Irisfeel?
I think the issue is that Angra Mainyu is one of those concept type deals, so it manifests however it pleases. Because like, Avenger and Hollow Ataraxia bears a a very striking resemblance to Shiro, because that's for some reason who Angra Mainyu chooses to manifest as.
Oh, he doesn't show up in the known Avengers list.
Who doesn't show up? And look for it's the fourth one. Actually, it's that one. Yeah.
Oh, as Shiro? Oh, I guess that kind of does look like Shiro.
Yeah, he looks like almost it's like, okay, what if we take Archer, give him black hair, okay, and then cover him in a shit ton of scars and scratches and cuts. Okay. Yeah, like Angra Mainyu itself is like more of a
Concept, I know.
Angra Mainyu is treated as a concept and is drawn from apparently a Persian god of some kind.
No. So Angra Mainyu is drawn
Like,
from a
he used to be a
Persian
villager.
myth. Yeah.
He used to be a villager in Fate, at least.
Yeah,
And then
in reality, the whole myth is that Persians would select one person for this holiday they would have at an undetermined amount of time, and they would pile all their sins upon this one person as being the source of their sins, and then they would kill that person as if getting rid of their sins by killing that person. And so Fateverse then took that idea and were like, oh, he is the accumulation of every village doing this ritual of sin purging. I got no fucking clue what's going on anymore.
Yeah, I feel like we should just end the show. We've gone so far off track.
No! We must finish this shit Naruto story! We must finish it! Blah blah blah, I'm a god, I can resurrect... I can supply you with plenty of man! So don't worry. This show is the perfect background noise to playing Darkest Thunder. Plenty of man. Anyway, so blah 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 blah. Nero's falling in love with Naruto. Hey, wanna conquer for Yuki? Blah 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 blah. What? Why would we conquer for Yuki? For Roma! Of course. Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, says the author's note. In all honesty, this is gonna be Naruto summoning Saber of Duria. But I just like Nero, so expect chaos. Lol. In the immortal words of Atlas, review, would you kindly? A. Fuck you for tainting such an amazing fucking narrative. And B. Would you kindly cease writing? Alright. So we're basically at the closing scenarios. So we got about 6 minutes left. Not enough time to start a new story, but enough time to interact with the audience and do one of our little sessions.
I hate the audience.
Would you kindly assassinate yourself, indeed? So we've done why don't we like Naruto? We've done why don't we like Ruby? We've done why don't we like Naruto fanfiction? We've done why don't we like Ruby?
Whoa, hold on. Whoa. Let's be clear here. It's not why don't we like X? It's what are our problems with X?
Yes, it is what is our problems with X. So for the closing statements of today's podcast, I believe since we've covered Fate stories and we spent quite a decent amount of time blathering on about that, and we've already covered Ruby stories, what is your biggest problem with Fate fanfictions?
Usually it's the massive waste of potential.
Yeah.
I don't read a
Because
lot of them. So
they'll try to shoehorn people into like, we'll shoehorn this guy into Saber or Arch or whatever they want. Like, rather than thinking about where a character should logically fit because of their temperament, they say, no, they have a sword, so I'll stick them into Saber. Like, dumb shit like that.
Really, have you really seen that many crossovers where they bring people? Aaron says the same thing. There's a lot of people that they cross over into it, either as heroes or as masters. Do you guys really see that many people that get crossed over into it that are like summoned characters?
like I said, I don't read a lot of them, and the
I mean,
few that
I
I've
see a
read
decent
are
amount of it.
the few I've read are either good or they're Fate's gamble.
10 out of 10.
They're either good or they're Fate's gamble.
I'm still undecided on that story. I don't know if it's good or bad. Sneaky, I'm on chapter 7.
I'm fucking quoting you on that to Lupine next time I talk to him.
Sneaky, you don't understand. I am 74 chapters in. I'm near the end. I still don't know if it's good or bad.
Well, this is a
Like-
sequel, so you'll have plenty of time to make a decision.
I'm just like staring at it. I'm staring at the chapter count. I'm like, when did I get this far?
I will
Like-
say, the fate system of the whole battle royale, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better word, it does attract a certain audience of people that do kind of just want to see versus battles going on, but don't really have a good way of writing them, and so they're
Yeah.
kind
Those
of just
people
like,
are dumb.
oh, well, I'll just have, Venom and Spider-Man get summoned as heroes, or I don't fucking know. It just leads to shoehorn
Like-
bullfuckery. Yeah, basically. I have to agree with Arn on that one. In the few stories that I have seen, like, I've seen a couple of Fate Stay Night, specifically, Naruto crossovers, and it was like, oh, Assassin was Itachi, and Berserker was Gaara, and,
And it was dumb.
so that's what it was. Naruto was Berserker, and Gaara was Caster, and Itachi was Assassin, and Gaara summoned Itachi and then worked with Naruto.
So far, the only one of those that makes sense is Itachi as Assassin.
Yeah, no, look, like, honestly, the only reason why, it was revealed later on, the only reason why the author made Naruto Berserker was so Isaville could use a command seal to command Naruto to go into mad enhancement mode, which caused him to go full Kyuubi, and they just wanted to write a Biju scene and fighting another Biju.
We already have that scene.
We
But,
need
like,
Trump
again, that's what I'm
summoned on the
saying.
basis that the future of the legends of his walls will grow to out of epic proportion. Look, Zex, his walls already have memes and they haven't even been built yet. Like,
Anyway, but ignoring that comment, the
Yeah.
fact that, like, what you just described, Sneaky, is exactly what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
like first of all, if you're doing a crossover with Fate, either replace everyone or replace one person.
Yeah, which I found it's a
Yeah.
it's a BlazBlue Fate Zero specifically crossover, where Hakumen takes the place of Arturia. Super well written. The only character replaced.
But
He
that,
tackles the personalities very well.
I will say that is a key, that is something of a pattern I have noticed in not just Fate stories, but in all stories in general. I have noticed when the author does not do a fusion, I mean, the story dies when the author does a fusion. But when the author doesn't do a fusion and they try to include more than one character from the crossover, this story inevitably crashes and burns because the characters from one universe, if they replace it especially, but even if they're just inserted, they tend to have multiple motivations that tend to derail the story from where the author was going with it. or they get
Yeah.
horribly out of character. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, so
that's one of that's
yeah.
the guy just had a recent update last month for the BlazBlue one, and he gave us a look at, oh, by the way, this is still Hakumen, so he's still obsessed with making sure that the balance is kept in place. That's his whole deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, we get a future vision of, he's probably going to kill Irie once she becomes corrupted. Because at that point, she's officially unbalancing the world.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that is something Hakumen would do,
Right.
regardless of if it's his world or not.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. This is something I've noticed with several stories I follow and no longer follow. Is they started off fine with X character crossing over into X world, and here's the butterfly effects of X character showing up in this world, and it's all hunky dory and it's going fine, and then suddenly they're like, oh, Y and Z characters are also in this world, and they've been secretly plotting this whole time. And then the story dies, like, within a chapter or two. Because they've suddenly made the plot way more complicated than it needed to be. They've introduced elements that did not need to be there. Like, look, I fully recognize authors of fanfiction are not on the norm the same tier as published authors. Regardless of how much we make fun of published authors, they still got published. They still had fandoms.
Like, I was gonna say, even as much as we shit on Twilight, Twilight is a published, financially successful novel.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing there is that those authors, as much as you can say, oh, they fail at character development here and there, they published their books and they got financially successful enough to be some of the top fanfiction fandoms.
Yep.
So, regardless of why, they still got there. So, I don't expect fanfiction authors to be at that same level of, I don't know, luck, bullshittery, character development, or what have you, depending on what kind of fanfiction we're writing for which series. But I don't expect the fanfiction author to have the same expertise. Sometimes, I will admit, I have seen fanfiction authors do better. However, on the whole, more often than not, fanfiction authors are worse than the series they are writing for. And making it harder on themselves, this is a general statement to everyone, not targeting anyone specifically. This is the death of several stories in development of myself. Making it harder on yourself by including multiple characters because you think, oh, it's cool, is a bad fucking idea. Unless you are a published work, rule of cool rarely works.
Yeah.
Rule of cool only works when you are already published, when you already have a fandom, when you already can just hand wave bullshit and people will accept it because they like the series. If you try to come in and be like, oh, Naruto is a god, and he summons Nero from the Throne of Heroes, but he doesn't actually summon her, he resurrects her, and so she's not really a servant, she's more of an actual person now. And that's how you start your story. It's like, but then you later on in your story, like, oh, Itachi and Gaara show up as heroes. And it's just like, fucking why?
Because here's the thing about Fate. You have an enormous wealth of possibility for people that you could put in there as heroes. Like, you can do so much with it, but the problem is, the more you change, the more you have to write.
Right, exactly, yeah. And the more you have to write as an unpaid fanfiction author, the more likely your story's gonna collapse.
Like, let's say I wanted, as a shitpost, to to replace assassin with Zeratul.
Now, I would read that story.
I mean, I come to think of it, actually, I probably wouldn't write it as a shitpost. But let's say I replace assassin with Zeratul. That is a manageable thing. But then if I also replace Castor with Kerrigan, now we have a problem.
I mean, at best, that would work as a shitpost. And honestly, it would not work as anything beyond oh lol, Kerrigan the caster summons Zeratul the assassin in the Holy Grail War. Like, that would, all the story would have going for it at that point.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the point, though, is I see a large number of authors, and not just for the Fate section, I just see a large number of authors in general also do this, where they're like, oh, you know, X character shows up. What was one I read recently? It was one story I ended up unfollowing because of it, where it was... I believe it was a Naruto Ruby story, and then suddenly Sasuke showed up as a villain in it or something like that. And I was just like, why? You know?
Yeah.
It's like I already have a hard time believing Naruto would end up in Rubyverse. Like, it's like you have to contrive some event for Naruto to end up in a different universe. And then you're like, oh yeah, Sasuke also made it through whatever event that caused Naruto to be
like,
there.
Again, that's the problem, right?
Found.
Like, if you take one character, you can throw in a bullshit line about, oh, they were summoned by the Throne of Heroes, because it takes heroes from all times and places, or some bullshit like that.
Right.
Or there was a portal, or whatever. But when you start including multiple people, that's where it's problematic.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, I mean, it gets problematic for the plot, it gets problematic for the author, especially because now they have to write multiple more butterfly. That's gonna be the closing statement here. I had planned to gradually introduce other Primarchs that died over the course of having the heresy. The story went radically out of control, yeah. Basically, yeah. That is going to be the closing statement. When you initially plan something, you have two ways of going about it. You go off the original idea. So basically what Max and I did for Scorch or Shattered Steel, we went off the idea that Havel gets summoned into a later period of time because of time-space shenanigans, and adventures around with generic pyromancer that slowly over time is revealed to be not so generic. That's a easy to do overall idea with not too many butterfly effects, especially because it's Dark Souls.
Well, I would say, especially because it's Dark Souls, and regardless of how generic or ungeneric the pyromancer is, you can just make the pyromancer the chosen undead.
Right, but we didn't.
Thus, the overwhelming number of butterfly effects is gone.
Yeah, well, we didn't.
The biggest butterfly effect so far is, oh yeah, the chosen undead kind of died in the asylum.
Yes.
No, let's be fair. The biggest butterfly effect is that you burned Blighttown to the goddamn ground.
No, that's not a butterfly effect. That is an acceptable conclusion.
Yeah, no, that's not a butterfly effect they're at, and that's just like, that just happened.
But point being, if you have two ways of doing this. You can go by the what's the term, by the pants of your seat, by the fly of your pants. I'm too drunk.
Flying? You mean flying by the seat of your pants?
Yes. You can go by that, and that works for one character into X universe, or just a what-if scenario of, what if Naruto went to the library once and learned how to read years earlier? Fucking some random shit like that.
Naruto went to the library where LeVar Burton happened to be that day.
Yeah, but point being is that, you know, you just go with the basic what if effect, and then you write out what happens from there, right?
Yeah.
Or you heavily outline it.
Yeah.
And
I
that way you'll be able to fit in whatever the fuck you want if you do the heavy outline of, okay, Sasuke comes in at this chapter, and this happens in this chapter, and this and this and this and this, and then this happens, and because of the butterfly effect, these character changes occur, and this happens differently. If you do a heavy outline, you can include whatever the fuck you want. As we've seen from Deus Ex, Mass Effect, Human Revolution, by Igneous Day, I don't even know what the fuck it's called anymore. I'm too drunk to remember. But the story by the guy who wrote Deus Ex Human Revolution, he wrote a Mass Effect Deus Ex Human Revolution crossover. It's enormous. It's got massive amounts of original content. And that's because the guy is either immensely good at writing, or he outlined the whole fucking thing. Sometimes those two are intertwined. Point being, you either outline every fucking change in your story, or you do with a simple concept and fly by the seat of your pants. There is no overlap there.
Like, for instance, mine and Max's story, while being a massive shitpost, is a very simple premise. Two completely useless guys with foreknowledge appear in the Ruby universe. We're completely useless, so therefore the amount of butterfly effects is limited to whatever we feel like making them.
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, that's what we're gonna close with. You have two options. You either plan out your story, or you fly by the pants of your seat. And in the end of the day, if the story is too complicated to do the latter, then you better do the fucking former, or your story's gonna die and you're gonna lose motivation to write it. And at the end of the day, that's honestly what I don't want to see. I want to see every fanfiction story completed. I honestly do. I don't care how trash it is. I want to see every story completed. I want to see you take your idea to the end. Because that's the clever part about it. That's the neat part about it. That's the part that inspires others, where they see the idea in full and then they can improve upon it. That's how humanity has worked for thousands of years. They see an idea and then they improve upon it. And I've seen it multiple times in fan fiction where they've been inspired by a story that only got to the second chapter, and sometimes it works out. Most of the times it doesn't, because the author doesn't really know where to go. But
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna hop out while you wrap this up.
That's my closing statement. I want to see every fan fiction completed, so for the love of fucking God, fucking figure out what you're writing and the genre you're writing for. You're not.
And
you're
that's
not J.K.
the end
Rowling.
of our show.
You're not J.K. Rowling. You're not Stephanie Meyer. You're not Tolkien. You're not a wizard with writing. So keep it simple.
Oh, whoa! Hold on a minute. You do realize Tolkien outlined the Christ out of everything, right?
I am aware. That's what I'm saying. You're not Meyer. You're not Stephanie Meyer. You're not J.K. Rowling. You're not Tolkien. You're not Brandon Sanderson. You're not any of these big name writers who either through luck or skill made it huge and became the names of writing. So don't measure yourself to the same standards as they do. Do extra work, because you're gonna fucking need it. If you were as skilled as any of these individuals, you would be published. You would not be writing fan fiction for free on a website that claims all of its content. But, so, we've gone on a bit longer than normal, and I send my salutations and the word for goodbye in your language to everyone. And check us out either on YouTube for the archived copies, or catch us live at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.-ish every single Tuesday and Friday. I'll be here, guaranteed. See you all later. And remember, there is always more, and it always gets worse.